Hey folks, Crazyclimber80 here again, and this time we're going to look at the awesome 1979 to 1980 CBS game show Shoo! But first off, let's look at some information about the show. Shoo aired CBS daytime at 10:30 in the morning Pacific time from April 23rd of 79 to May 30, 1980. It aired after Beat the Clock and before The Price is Right, which it replaced and moved to 11 o'clock in the morning, and it was replaced by Alice reruns. And it was filmed at CBS Television City Studio 31 and 33. The creator was Jay Wolpert. The production company was the Bud Austin Company. The executive producers were Bud Austin and Burt Sugarman. And Burt Sugarman created the Midnight Special, a very famous show from the 70s. The theme was Alan Thicke. Yes, that Alan Thicke, very talented guy. Hanna-Barbera created the animated opening. The host was Tom Kennedy, and the announcer was Rod Roddy. And here's an animated depiction of the Gauntlet of Villains, the bonus round. Here we see a young lady trying to get through the gauntlet, and first she's trying to pass Alphonse the Gangster, Bruno the Headsman, and Mr. Van Louse the Landlord, the first three villains of the gauntlet. And Bruno the Headsman tries to chop her and he misses. The next three villains are Nero the Fiddler, Count Nibbleneck the Vampire, and Frank and his little friend Stein. And Count Nibbleneck tries to lunge at her and he misses. Next is Kid Rotten the Gunslinger, Jeremy Swash the Pirate, and Dr. Deranged the Mad Scientist. Jeremy Swash tries to swipe at the contestant and he misses. She ducks. And lastly is the 10th villain, Lucrecia the Witch. She has a cat on her shoulder, and the cat tries to swipe at the contestant and misses. And finally, the contestant would collapse in a pot of cash. Rod Roddy would announce during the sequence every time the villains attacked her, close calls, narrow escapes, split-second decisions, and $25,000 in cash, a combination guaranteed to make you say, and a word balloon would escape from her mouth and form the title card. Shoo! And it would segue into the real-life set. Two contestants would play. One was the blocker at the red podium on the left, and one was the charger on the green podium on the right. The blocker would try to prevent the charger from moving all the way up that board in the background from the bottom to the top in 60 seconds, and the blocker would place penalties in the way. And let's have a look at how they did that strategy. Now the charger would go off stage to a little booth where they would put on headphones and hear white noise so that they couldn't hear the blocker putting their blocks. And the blocker had 6 blocks they could put. And they could have 3 on one row, no more than that, or they could just mix them up as they liked, and they could put them on any of those rows, even the top row, and they would cost the charger 5 seconds every time they came across a block, and the block had a picture of one of the villains holding a block sign. Once the blocker finished placing all their blocks, the charger got to come back on stage, and eventually Tom would tell them to get started, and the charger would pick a box from each level. If they missed, then they had to pick another box from the same level, and in each box was a factual statement with one or a few more words that were incorrect, and usually they were very, very silly, and those were called bloopers, and the contestant, the charger, had to give the correct answer. And anytime they came across a block that was placed by the blocker, they would lose 5 seconds and Tom would count it down. But if the charger was running out of time, they could interrupt Tom, which they usually couldn't do when he was reading the factual quote. They would be taken up to the top row with a long shot automatically, and that would stop the clock. But this would give the blocker a chance to place one extra block. But if the charger was able to correctly answer that blooper on the top row, then they won. But if they missed, then the blocker won. And if the charger ran out of time, the blocker won. Let's look at the board one last time. A coin toss at the beginning would determine who would get the choice of blocking or charging to start off. And there are 5 rows of $10, $20, $30, $40, and $50 boxes. And then the top row is $200, $300, $50, and $500.
I'll block.
You're going to block? Okay,
Yes.
The blocker goes behind the stop sign, and the charger is going to charge right on out at this point, Celine. So you go on out of there, out of sight, and out. Place your block.
Okay, just in case he decides to play it safe, we'll put a block on level 1 for $10. Okay, now let's see. In case she gets through my block and makes it on number 2, she'll get confident and go for level 3, $50.
Level 3, 50. Okay, now you have she also wants it, don't you?
I sure do.
All right, now you have 60 seconds to get to the top, and remember, you can call for the long shot. You know about that, don't you, Shalene? All right, so giving me the level and the money amount. Charge!
Level 1, $20.
120. Jimmy Carter's brother's name is Mud.
Billy.
Charge!
Level 2, $20.
220. Congressman Thomas P. O'Neill holds the title of Streaker of the House.
Speaker.
Charge!
Level 3, $20.
320. John C. Calhoun resigned the vice presidency to become a U.S. janitor.
Senator.
Charge!
$420.
420. At the 1976 Republican Convention, Gerald Ford was nominated and Ronald McDonald came in second.
Reagan.
Charge!
$520.
520 block. 4, 3, 2, 1. Same level 5.
Level 5, $10.
510 block. 4, 3, 2, 1. Same level 5.
$540.
540. Voters in rural areas without voting machines have to write in their choices on a pullet.
A ballot.
Charge.
Level 6, $200.
200 block. 4, 3, 2, 1. And time is up. Howard wins the round. You got it, Howard.
Now there's the long shot villain. When a long shot is called, then the blocker gets to place one secret block. And if it is uncovered by the charger, then that's what it looks like. Let's look at a long shot taking place.
4, 3, 2, 1. Same level 3.
Level 410.
Level 3.
Level 350.
Level 350. In 1954.
Long shot!
It's a good thing you kept your eye on the clock, because he called for the long shot, the only thing he could do with 2 seconds on the clock. That will take you immediately to the 6th level. Shalene, on your podium are 3 secret buttons. Press one of them right now, which will place a secret block on the 6th level. Howard, there may also be a previously placed block on that level. If you find the blooper and you correct it, you not only win the round, you win the game. Anything else, and Shalene wins the round, and we have a tiebreaker. Which position do you want, Howard?
350.
350. That Shalene has tied the game.
After each round, Tom Kennedy would correct any bloopers that the contestants missed. And whichever contestant won 2 games first was the champ and would go on to play the Gauntlet of Villains for $25,000. And there is the Gauntlet of Villains. Tom Kennedy would introduce the villains with a silly nickname. Then the back of the stage would be unveiled, and Tom and the contestant walked up to the left of the gauntlet. The villains had a snide comment on their monitors at the beginning and end of the game. This monitor also showed the correct answer to a missed blooper. Every $100 won in charging and blocking added 1 second to the basic 60 seconds used to beat the gauntlet. The contestant stood next to villain number 1 and waited for Tom to read the first blooper. A villain arm barred the contestant's path until the blooper was corrected. A failure to beat the gauntlet in 60 seconds still won the contestant $100 for each villain beaten. All 10 villains beaten won the contestant $25,000 and retired them. Win or lose, another snide comment would show on the villain's monitor at the end of the Gauntlet of Villains, and then they would display "shoo" before the commercial.
Figura, newly ordained champ. Now, Kerry, I'd like to introduce you to 10 of the most cantankerous cads who ever stood between a domestic engineer and her money. And here they are. Let's go get them. Right here, Terry, right there. What do they say today? Make love, not money. They'll do anything to save a buck. But they're not going to save bucks with us, because if you get from villain number 1 right through villain number 10, you will win $25,000 in cash. Now, how much time will you have? You'll have 60 seconds plus 1 second for each $100 you earned so far. Now, in that last game, between charging and blocking, you won $1,240, which means you're going to have 12 seconds added to your basic 60 seconds for a total of 72 seconds to beat those villains. So you take your position, and I will take mine, and you have 72 seconds on the clock. The gauntlet and the clock will begin with the first bell. Fry egg-dipped bread if you want to get French kisses.
Toast.
A high formal hairdo was the trademark of Louis XV's mistress, Madame de Pumpernickel.
Pompadour.
Dr. Channing plays a newly separated woman in the CBS show Just Freed.
Friends.
Translated into English, the French title Papillon means butterball.
Butterfly.
Popeye could get extra strength by eating a can of worms.
Spinach.
Dr. Joyce Brothers won the $64,000 question on the subject of busing.
Boxing.
Conjunctivitis is the medical name for pink ladies.
Pink gums.
Little Women was written by Louisa May Armycott.
Alcott.
Scheherazade is a symphonic suite by Rimsky-Shatsky.
Corsica.
Although he was famous by Queen Isabella of Spain, Columbus was from Ohio.
No, Genoa. Italy.
In the movies, the person who first played the adult Tarzan was Elmo Stinkin.
Lincoln.
You only missed one. You gonna be all right?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, baby. Let me applaud you. That was fantastic. Take it out. All right, I've got one more handkerchief here. That's only slightly used. It's gonna be all right. $25,000, that's all it is. See what they say there? It's IRS time.
Call the IRS for now.
You know who the IRS is?
Oh, definitely.
All right. All right, $25,000. You had the other money. You have a grand total of $26,240. We have to say goodbye to you. How are you going to use it, hon? How are you going to use it?
I can have a baby now that we can.
You are?
Yes.
Best of luck to you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, what a pleasure. Be back in a minute, folks.
Thank you.
Well, starting November 5 of 79 to the end of the run, the show became Celebrity Shoe. A celebrity partner was given to each contestant. They would split blocking duties and charging duties. And at the gauntlet, the contestant picked which half of the villains they wanted to face and gave or received a low 5 to basically pass the baton to the celebrity. Some stars were John Saxon, Betty White, Robert Vaughn, Roxy Roker, Jamie Farr, and Marsha Wallace.
Two great stars and their contestant partners are going to have Whoa! Call! Narrow escapes! Split-second dissension! And a chance at $25,000 in cash! A combination guaranteed to make you sing! And now, here's the host of our show, John Kennedy!
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show. We have two terrific celebrities, and we have some great contestants. And don't forget, any team that wins the game by winning both round 1 and 2 gets a shot at our special bonus board. Now, let's welcome our celebrities, Betty White and John Saxon. And here they are, greens and blues for today. Love ya. How are you? Isn't she, though?
Oh, look who's
And
talking.
Mr. Saxon is no slouch himself, as a matter
He
of fact.
plays well, too.
That's the board within 60 seconds. How simple can it be? Just charge on out of here, out of sight and out of hearing. Now, you guys get to play 6 blocks. You can only place only 1 on the 6th level and no more than 3 on any of the remaining levels, and you'll be credited with the amount of money attached to the blocks that your opponents might encounter. And now, Stephanie, the first 3 blocks are yours. Food and drink.
Okay, 6th level, 350. 5th level, 40.
Now 1.
4th level, 30.
All right. All right, John.
Level 320.
Yeah.
Level 330. And level 130.
All right. Well, heavy in the middle. Watch out for that. Let's see what they do. I love to watch the blocking strategy, and then I love to watch the offense. Okay, offense. You figured out what the defense has done?
Sure.
Have you now? All right, Stephen, you're going to tell me now who's going to start because you're going to alternate. Betty, it's food and drink. Don't forget about the long shot. 60 seconds on the clock, giving me the level and the money amount charged.
Level 150.
150. Blocks is obtained by smoking a cigar.
Camera.
Charged, Stephen.
Level 230.
230. A popular brand of bologna is Oscar Acceptance Speeches.
Meyer.
Charged, Betty.
Level 350.
350. To make chicken Kiev, you have to remove the rooster from the chicken.
The bone.
Charged, Stephen.
Level 440.
440. If you want to take a pizza home, you order to get in the car.
To go.
Charged, Betty.
Level 550.
550. You should open a fine red wine 1 hour before serving to allow it to get to know the meal.
To breathe.
Charged, Stephen.
Level 6, 200.
200. You make coleslaw by shredding some coal.
Cabbage.
Now, one really cool thing about Celebrity Shoe was that in order to avoid straddling games like they did in regular Shoe, a 2-0 victory for a celebrity contestant pair got them an extra game. Blocks would be randomly placed, and the celebrity contestant would charge. Money won in this round was also extra time for the gauntlet, and this was done, to completely fill up one game in an episode.
Stephen Ziplow is our new champion. And as a matter of fact, Stephen, we're going to give you the opportunity of going to that gauntlet with even more money and more seconds than you have earned so far. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to play a special bonus round, and just as before, you're going to charge up the board. And if you get to the top of that board within 60 seconds, then all the money you win in that charge will be added to your total. And, of course, it'll increase the seconds that you have to run the gauntlet. Now, you're probably wondering who's going to be doing the blocking. Well, it is those irascible villains, that's who. And they have randomly selected one of many different blocking patterns. So let's right now step right back here and take a look at their blocking pattern, not their blocking pattern, but the category. It's the Americas, so that's all you're going to be armed with. I now invite the two of you to charge on out of here. Out of sight and out of hearing. And there they go. They put the headsets on. And now that they have done that, let's see where the villains have placed the blocks on the Americas. What have you done, guys? On level 2, there's a 20 and a 40. And on level 3, there's a 30. All right. And on 4, there's a 30. And on 5, there's a 30. And they get one more. Oh, well, look at what they did there. That's 350. All right. We know about all of that now. Well, let's bring back Betty White and Stephen Ziplow. 200. The IRS stands for the Internal Rip-Off Service.
Revenue Service.
You did it. You did it. You won the the ground.
Yeah.
And so that means you have earned extra money, and that means you have also earned extra seconds. We're going to add it all up and give you both of you a chance at our Gauntlet of Villains for $25,000 right after this. Well done. Now, Betty and Stephen, I'd like to introduce you to 10 of the most villainous vagrants who ever stood between a real estate person and his money. And here they are. Well, let's see, the villainous vagrants who originally are from Greenwich Village, a couple of them anyway. Let's see what they have to say. Well, it says, "Hi, anxiety." Oh, now, that is cute.
Oh,
No, that was kind of cute. But anyway, in order to win $25,000, Stephen, all you have to do is get from villain number 1 through villain number 10. 25 grand is yours. Go back there and buy anything you want in Greenwich Village.
All right.
The size of a postage stamp, anyway. Now, between charging and blocking in the last game, plus the bonus round, you made $770. It gives you a grand total of 67 seconds in which to beat the Gauntlet of Villains. Now, Stephen, there are 10 of them, and you're going to take on either the first 5 or the last 5. What is your choice?
The last 5.
The last 5. Get down there on villain number 6. Betty over here on villain number 1. Good luck to both of you. Let's do it here, huh? 67 seconds on the clock. The gauntlet and the clock will begin with the first round. In some cities, the law requires you to curb your temper.
your dog.
From the verse, Old Mother Hubbard went to the bathroom.
Cupboard.
Lady Godiva rode naked through the streets of Seattle.
Of London.
A popular song among the 49ers was Stephen Foster's Old Banana.
Oh, the folks at home.
Judaism has 3 main divisions: Orthodox, Conservative, and Episcopalian.
Reform.
Always remember to look before you creep.
Leap.
Every 4th year, February gains a pound.
A day.
Lillian Hellman discussed her life with great relish in her 1973 book, Pickle. Laugh-In starred Rowan and Salem.
Martin.
A religious sect of spinning Arab dances is called Whirling Tops. In 52, Christine Jorgensen went to Denmark for a change of pace.
Sex change.
TV's famous couple who lived in apartment 3B was Lucy and Ricky Nelson.
Arnett.
John Wayne starred as a cavalry captain and she wore a yellow wig.
Ribbit.
In order to please... Oh, Stephen, oh, that's too bad. You gave it a good try, though. You really did. And there's nothing easy about this. And here, try and collect. That's all right, Stephen. I'll tell you what you do collect. You went through 8 of them. That earns for you an additional $800. Add to your previous winnings brings up to $1,550. And we'll be right back.
Just some notes and observations I wanted to make about the show. The villains would all say "time's up" together when the clock reached 0. I don't know if you noticed that before. Kind of cool. Bert Sugarman presumably owns all the episodes. They all exist. Celebrity Shoe was only meant to be a 3-week special, but the change became permanent. I always thought that changing a game show to celebrities during the middle of the run was a bad idea. It kind of meant the beginning of the end often. 5 minutes of CBS News would follow Shoe. It was Shoe was only 25 minutes long with commercials, and after the news, The Price is Right would start.
This, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this series of programs. So for all of us here on Pew, the office staff and the studio staff, we thank everybody here at CBS, but mainly you folks at home. You have been fantastic. It's been a great year. Thank you all. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, this is Crazyclimber80's saying thanks for watching my tribute to the game's show Shoe that aired on CBS in 1979 and 1980, and its Celebrity Shoe incarnation. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned a little something about it, and I will catch you later with my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Close call. Narrow escape. Split second decision.